Hey, what's up guys, Tuck here, and today I'm going to bring you a guide on Dungeoneering. Now all this guide will be is what to bind at what level. It won't involve any training tips or XP rates per hour or anything like that. So to start with, at levels 1 to 50 you're only allowed to bind one item. Now this should always be a weapon. Now depending on what you are, for example if you're a pure ranger, you don't want to bind a sword. However, if you are melee based, you'd always bind the best two-hander you can. Now the reason you buy two-handers over mauls is because it has two different style types. You get both crush and slash, whereas with a maul you only get crush. Now at lower levels this isn't that important, but as you gain Dungeoneering levels, the difference in the two styles makes a vast difference to the speed of a dungeon. Now alternatively, there are a lot of range tanks out there who don't want any more melee experience. Now these should bind the best bow they can and the best arrows always as their ammo bind. Now, once you've bound your sword or your bow, you need to bind some kind of ammunition. Now, in my opinion, if you bind a melee weapon, whether it be a sword or a maul or a longsword or whatever you get your hands on to start with, you should always bind lore runes for levels 1 to 50. This makes things like C1 rushes a lot faster, and also depending on your rune crafting level, if you can't craft lores, you should keep these bound for as long as possible. However, if you are range based, you must bind the arrows. Now, I believe you can bind up to 125 arrows unless you complete one of the quests. Now I'm not sure what quest it is, but I believe this increases your bind from 125 to 225, so it's extra 100 arrows or runes, which makes a huge difference, especially if you're a ranger. Alternatively, if you have a fairly high rune crafting level and you can craft your own lore runes and you don't have a bow bound, in my opinion then you should bind the Celestial Surge box. Now again, this holds up to 125 air, wave or surge spells. Now it'll only store air spells. That's bloods, deaths and airs for surge, and deaths and airs for wave. In my opinion, you should never ever choose to set it onto the wave spells, because if you choose the surge spells, the wave spells come automatically anyway. However, this does have quite a high rune crafting requirement as well as a mage requirement. So, once you've got your preferred bind, you're ready to train up to level 50. Now once you're at level 50, you'll be able to bind a second item. Now in my opinion, this should always be a Shadow Silk hood. And what this does is, it makes you invisible or invulnerable, how you want to put it, to humanoids, which is skeletons, zombies, any of the warriors that are walking around, and things like that. However, the mages within Demonheim have a special ability to remove the effect of the Shadow Silk hood for a limited period of time. So what this means is, if there's a major in the room, you should always power the major first, because once the major is dead, the effect of the hood will come back into effect, and then the skeletons and zombies things in the room will not be able to hurt you. Alternatively, if you're doing a guardian door with just skeletons and zombies, wearing the Shadow Silk hood will stop you getting piled yourself, so you can do one NPC at a time, and it saves you taking a lot of damage. It's a really key item within Dungeoneering, and I would definitely recommend it as your second bind. Alternatively, until you find a Shadow Silk hood, you can always bind a plate body for the extra defense bonus, or a shield if you have the tank option set on your ring, but I would recommend setting your ring to Berserker if you are melee. So, presuming now that you've got your Prometheum two-hander and your Shadow Silk hood bound, that's basically all you're going to do now all the way through. Alternatively, a lot of people, if they get one, will bind a hex. That's a hex hunter bow, instead of a melee weapon for between levels 50 and 100, because they're very rare and they're not that common to see. So moving on, once you reach level 100 Dungeoneering, you're ready for your third bind. Now, as you see on screen now, I've got three choices. So say, for example, all the way through, you've had that Prometheum two-hander bound. Now might be a good time, if you get one, to bind that Hex Hunter bow to give you the 2 different combat styles. Also, if you've got a surge box bound at this point, maybe you shouldn't bind the bow then. Obviously the advantage of having the surge box with a melee is the fact then you've still got 2 types of attack style. You've got melee and mage. And mage is really effective against some of the warriors, like the primal warriors and the Promethean warriors, things like that. Have really high melee defense, but a relatively low mage defense, so it can make that slightly easier as well. However, 90 level 100, you can always bind the Hex Hunter bow, and if you can get them, the Sagittarian arrows as well to go with it, as well as having your Promethean 2-hander bound. Alternatively, a lot of people at this point with the 3rd bind will go for a primal plate. What this does then is combine with Shadow Silk Hood, gives you a huge defense bonus, and you're still immune to humanoids. Alternatively, there's the blood necklace. Now these are dropped by Edimus, which makes them quite rare. I've seen 2. They have become a lot more common recently. A lot of people buying this, and this has the effect to deal damage to NPCs around you and use that damage to heal yourself. It's not a special attack, it's on a set timer and it activates all on its own, you don't have to do anything. Also, between levels 100 and 120, you'll be able to fight kal'ger the Warmonger, and he will drop primal 2-hander. Now this is a definite must-have for any melee. The primal 2-hander is the best melee weapon to have in Dungeoneering. So if you're lucky enough to see one, make sure you bind it over your Promethean 2-hander. And that is all for now, guys. Obviously once you reach level 120, you'll get a 4th bind. Now for your 4th bind, I recommend taking another one of the binds on screen. So if you took the primal plate, I'd recommend your 4th bind being a blood necklace, or your 4th bind being the Hex Hunter bow and Sagittarian arrows. If you don't see any of these, or you're happy with what you have, you can bind things like primal gauntlets, primal boots, a gold precision bracelet, things like that will give you extra strength bonus within Dungeoneering. So I hope this short guide helped you a little bit, guys. If you have anything I've missed out, if there's any key binds I forgot or missed, then please do let me know. And I just hope now this gives you an idea of what to bind if you're relatively new to starting Dungeoneering. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.